Welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Let's hear it for our special guest host, Jason Mathis.
What's up, Alliance Nation? Welcome to the Wednesday Call. We got a super awesome call for everybody today, and some real awesome agencies. All of them are blowing up, exploding, and we are going to talk about recruiting. How do you get somebody started? How do you get them through the interview, through carrier contracting, through the fast track? How do you get them out there writing business? How do you grow them up into leaders? And just some housekeeping before we get started. So let me tell you who we got on today, so you can send out some text and get some people on this call. We got Terry Edwards of Terry and Tia Edwards fame, the dream team, on this call today, and what he does to help people blow up an agency. We've got up next after that Erica Gold and her IUL expertise coming up. And then we've got Marnie Frank representing Sabrina Frank and Team Rise with Danny, and what they're doing on the estate planning and how they grow up leaders and get them to go out there and plug into the system and be successful. So I just want to give a quick thank you to the Albrights, Jane and Andy Albright, and the kids too, everything they went through to get this thing started and off the ground, the hard work, and really creating a platform that is, I was talking with Terry about this early in the call, like, we don't got to figure anything out. We've got the system. We've got the processes. I like to tell people it's like a McDonald's, right? Like, if you got into the Alliance system and opened up your agency under our umbrella, you're not going to have to figure out, where do I go to find the product knowledge? How do I do e-apps? What's the sales process? How do I get leads? How do I do my client acquisition? Like, we've got it all figured out. So when you run into a problem with your agency, you just simply need to reach upline to try to find somebody. So one of the things that really blew up my business, and I see all the leaders do this, is these training events that we got coming up. I'll tell you, I can't tell you what this did for my business. This is what took me from corporate America and plugged me into what the Alliance is doing and what Albright's built and how to utilize all the systems we got in place. President's Club, Lead Performance Team, Jeff Bright, the ARC, Robbie Kraft, like all these people, Lucero Diaz, Clay Murtis, like all these people that you have right when you open up your agency. You could have been in the business for 10 years, or you just got your license. You now have this human capital, this human bank of knowledge, hundreds and hundreds of years of experience where you don't have to figure it out on your own. So one of the things that I did early on when I was part-time, I was still at the bank, I was part-time. Albright did this Albright Intense training. And he talks about it in his Millionaire Maker Manual book, and he says he does it and he'll train anybody. He's trained a lot of great people like Terry, Erica, Marnie, Fitz, Davies, Leventovich, Katz, Abian. But if you want training from him, then just set it up. And he's doing it again. And so get a pen and piece of paper. It's May the 19th through May the 23rd. Write that down, May the 19th through May the 23rd. And I went up there. So it's several days, 19, 21, 2. So it's 5 days of intense training. And I got 3 days. And I've been to this thing again. Not only did I do it once, I've done it twice. So if you can get to this training, there's an application process. They're going to post it online. They're going to get it out there. It's going to be in all your groups. It's going to be on the Facebook page. Fill out the application. And there are some slots still open, not many. So hurry up and get there and get your team there. This is world-class training. And you need to get into it, but the price is extremely low. And they provide dinner, lunch, like all the food, stuff like that. So make sure you get there before the price goes up. The price is going to be going up, and you need to make sure you secure the lower price. So that's coming up May the 19th through the 23rd. And then Albright's doing a West Coast tour out on the West Coast shortly thereafter, May the 28th, May the 30th, with Marvin and Osuna and Ricardo and a bunch of everybody out there that's out there. Make sure you sign on that. All of this is located on the ARC. You can get this on the ARC. And then, of course, we've got Family Reunion 2025 coming up July the 17th through July the 20th. The first day is going to be the estate planning. If you guys want to get into the estate planning, it's a great way to add another golf club in your golf bag, another way that we can go out there and help families, help protect them with not only just estate planning, but any other product that we have, final expense, Medicare, IULs, term life, whole life, final expense. So they're going to need to be serviced on all of that because it's a holistic approach when you do the estate planning. So Family Reunion, July 17th to the 20th, Legends of the Arena. And there's going to be all these legends up there. Erica's going to be speaking at this event, teaching everybody how she is the number 11 in the nation out of 20,000 agency owners. We have number 11 in the nation. Pretty impressive, Erica. And then what I tell people is manage your schedule. Like if you want to build a leader and you really want to help people, you got to teach them how important it is to do what they say they're going to do. Like if their gums are flapping and they don't do what they say they're going to do, it's a problem. So schedule's important. I've already got on my calendar for 2025. Yeah, we got National Boot Camp October 17th through the 19th. So make sure that's on your calendar for this year. That'll be the last big major national training event we get there, world-class training. And then we've got National Convention 2026. So I've already got the 2026 calendar full up with that event, January the 22nd through January the 25th of 2026. So make sure that's on your calendar. And all your leaders, you should be teaching people how to manage their time. And make sure you get them to those events. It's really what changed my business. Getting to these events, talking to people like a Terry, a Marnie, and Erica, an Abian, a Fitz, and just getting into their head and figuring out what I should do, right? Because I didn't want to have to reinvent the wheel. Like nobody wants to have to reinvent the wheel, right? So, that Albright Intense training, I can't say enough about it. It's a very intimate setting. It's not, at these big events, we have a couple thousand people there, but at the Albright Intense training, you'll have 50 people there, 25 people there, and you're really going to be able to spend a lot of time with the leaders and what they're doing and how they're doing it. So before I bring this guy up, I just want to tell you a little bit about him, and he's going to tell you, a lot of people ask me, how did you find Terry? How did you coach Terry? How did you train Terry up? And I tell them, and it's funny. When I first started talking with Terry, I was scared of Terry. Not really like physically scared of him, but just like it don't take long to talk with Terry to know that he's, read a book or two. And I sent a picture of Terry in my office, and then he sent a picture of him in his office, and behind him was this whole cabinet of books. And I'm like, oh man, this guy is a reader. And leaders are readers, and people who want to grow are readers. So I was impressed with that, and I asked him about it. He said, yeah. I said, so you read those books, or are they just for show? He's like, no, I read every last one of them. And so I was like, wow, this guy's pretty developed. And he's done some things in his career. He's been a business owner, and he'll tell you a little bit about that. And so his business now is exploding. He's got one of the biggest businesses out of 20,000 agencies we've got. He's got in the top 10 agencies in the business. Him and the dream team. He's awesome at working with people. He's number 3 in the nation in Medicare, and he just started doing the estate planning. He's number 2 in the nation in that already, and he's just out there helping people and doing it. And Terry, so if you can bring Terry up, and Terry, I want you to tell him, like, what were you doing when you met the Alliance? What was your plan with the Alliance? What did Tia think about it? And just tell him a little bit about that, and then tell him how you help people, reach their goals, and to motivate them, and to what do you look at for a person to really kind of know, because we don't give up on anybody, but we do make a determination about how much time and effort and money we spend on them to help them grow their business, right? So if you could just, the people want to know, like, how did I find you? What was my great, like I tell people, I'm like, the only thing I did with Terry Edwards was push him to Andy Albright, right? I placed a Craigslist ad. I got the President's Club. I said, what do you guys do? They said, here's the ad, post on Craigslist. I add some pictures to it, and you responded. So tell them a little bit about that and what you did to get your coaching and how you do it.
Sweet. Good deal, man. Can you hear me loud and clear, Jason?
Loud and clear.
All right. Awesome, man. What's up, Alliance family? This is Terry Edwards coming to you live from beautiful Kernersville, North Carolina. Listen, literally just got out of my car. I left my house this morning at 5 a.m. I drove 3 hours one way to meet with some clients. Okay. I'm trying to keep my camera still, but I get a little excited because I'm on my phone. But listen, guys, drove 3 hours one way to meet with some clients, of course, served them, drove 3 hours back. And my first appointment this afternoon is at 1 o'clock, and it runs through 9 o'clock tonight. So I found the Alliance. The Alliance found me 10 years ago. Like Jason said, my background was in banking, and I had lost my job, moved down to Atlanta for a job, and long story short, the job offer got rescinded, and I did what any other college-educated person would do. Yep, I got a bachelor's degree and an MBA and had this great career in banking, and I found myself on Craigslist looking for an opportunity, guys, just a way to make some additional money until I could find another job. But following Jason, Mathis, and Olga and our simple system here at the Alliance, my first 30 days put over $8,000 in deposits in my bank account. I was fired up out my mind, right? Because I was thinking, you know what? If I can do this every month, I ain't going back to corporate America. And for the last 10 years, not only have me and Tia been able to have a measure of success, but the hundreds of others that we call dream teamers have extended the opportunity. So how do we get people moving? How did you get me moving? Number one, it wasn't about what you were saying, Jason. It was what you and Olga were actually doing. Andy Albright says it this way: we owe people 2 things. Number one, an opportunity, extend the opportunity. And number 2, an example, a great example. And that's what you and Olga were doing. Olga was a luggage handler. You told me the story. She was a luggage handler, American Airlines, right? And she was making over $9,000 a month doing insurance when I first got started. So I was like, yeah, I want to be like that, right? And then not only were you guys given a great example, let me put a pin right there. We owe people a great example, not a perfect one. See, a lot of people want us to be perfect, and we're not perfect. We are all a whip, a work in progress, baby. We're all a whip. We're just a work in progress, trying to get better every single day. But you guys gave us a great example of what winning looks like, right? The other thing that you guys were tremendous at was promoting. You wasn't just carnival barking. You are a promoter. You promoted the leadership. You edified them. You edified Andy and Jane Albright. You edified Andy Riddle. You edified the leadership You edified the culture of the alliance. So you were selling all of that, and I was buying all of it, right? So you were a great promoter. So you promoted just like get to meet Andy Albright.
Right.
And I drove up to Burlington from Atlanta to meet Andy Albright because you told me to. And I met Andy, and my vision just got expanded upon what we could accomplish here. And so you did a great job promoting the culture and the events, and not only promoting the culture and the events, but you guys did a great job with modeling, not just talking, modeling. Like Olga, front row fanatic, baby. We would get to the events. Olga would have blankets scrolled across the first 3 rows. I already had it reserved, baby. So, that and basically, to whom much is given, much is required. So when those things that you did for me was extended to me, I felt that I owe it to pay it forward and do that for people that we bring on. So I am hell bent on setting a great example. Again, not perfect, but a great example, and promoting the events and the leadership. So that's and Jason, how do you get people moving? It ain't by what you're saying, it's by what you're doing. Are you showing them tail lights? Or are you talking about how great this thing is going to be? Are you putting money in the bank, Shawty, what you think? Or are you telling them what you fitting to do? You know what I'm saying? So I still love working 12 and 14-hour days because I love what we do, man. So that's one of the biggest ways that you got me moving fast, and what we're trying to do with our Dream Team family.
Yeah, I don't remember what I said. I wasn't, I was kind of scared of you. Like, I remember, like, I was like, God, this guy's developed. He's got a master's degree. I'm a college dropout. And I was just like, who can I push him to? And of course, you're from that part of the country in North Carolina. And I said, he's got to go see Andy. I don't remember what I said. Do you remember what I said to you that finally tripped it and you went?
No, you said basically, man, you're going to do great here. You already got off to a great start, but I want you to go and meet the guy who started this thing, so that you'll see that this is not being ran from a PO box. That's what you said, and I did it. I went, and like I said, man, vision just got expanded, and I'm looking at Andy Albright, and I'm like, wait a minute, this joker is just as country as I am, and you mean to tell me he has built a company like this, just being plain spoken, right?
From Burlington,
North Carolina. And I'm thinking, you know what? If he can do it, I'm crazy enough to believe that I can do it too. Because God is not a respecter of person. He will reward those who diligently seek him. And it's like, I am diligently seeking my vision for my family through this opportunity that we get to call the Alliance.
Yeah. One of the things I tell agency owners, I think you do a great job with this, is let's say, don't allow another's dysfunction to dysfunction you, meaning you have to care enough not to care. And I say that you can't care about their dysfunction. How do you keep growing people and you see their dysfunction or they shoot themselves in the foot? What do you do to help do that correction with them?
Well, first and foremost, like, growth is natural until dysfunction is introduced. So number one, I don't get offended by their dysfunction. Now, this is something that I have grown as a leader in, is being able to identify that hurt people. And I've heard it said this way: people will offend you before they allow you to hurt them. So a lot of times what happens is, let's say I'm person A recruiting person B, and person B says something that could be perceived as, no. Let's say I say something to person B and they get offended by it. And they tell me that they're offended. So person B is offended. And now person A, me, I'm offended because they offended me. Nobody grows, right? So it's like, how do you help people meet people where they are? And that's one of the things that you guys did for me. Y'all met me where I was, and every little milestone, you was there to to patty cake me. But also in those moments that I was rushing through the ATM and trying to hurry up and get to the sale, you guys corrected me. And we live in a society now where correction is viewed as controlling. And who want do you want? Andy Albright asked me this way. He was like, "Do you want the credit or do you want the cash?" You see, if you want the cash, it doesn't matter who gets the credit. So if there are people that's above my pay grade and people that I'm having a hard time connecting with, I'm going to do everything I can to throw them to somebody that they can connect with. It's not about the credit, it's about the cash. So that's what we're doing right now is we're still growing and evolving as leaders, right? But trying to identify, meet people where they are and find out what they want. It's not what I want for them. What do they want? And how do I use the alliance opportunity to help them get what they want? Then when they get what they want, let's grow that vision, get them to the events, get them in more excellent environments. Ooh, yes. Excellent environments, like expose them to greatness. And then they will have a thirst for greatness.
Like it's a horrible way to live, Terry, if you just focus on the differences with people and everything they do wrong, right? Like, and you're just always correcting. It's like parents. I see parents, you can tell if somebody's a good parent if the only time they interface with their kid is when their kid does something wrong. So that's when oh man, my kid done screwed up and this is where I got to parent now. I got to be the best parent instead of the one time out of 10 they screw up. That's when the parent jumps on them and spends time with them, right? It's the same way. Like, why aren't the parents spending the 90% of the time, congratulating them or celebrating their wins? And it's the one time they do something wrong. And that's when you drop the hammer on people. Talk about that a little bit. Like, how do you just ignore that?
Yeah. So you have options. That's what you do. You have options. So a lot of times we get frustrated because we got one or two agents and they told us that they were going to do it. They told us that they were going to be the best thing, that they're going to be the best agent that we've ever recruited. They told us that they're coachable and teachable. They told us that they got a vision for tomorrow. And the first time they get punched in the face, they're ready to quit or blame. It's the leads. It's my upline. It's this, as opposed to what can I do to get better? So how do you not get frustrated? You have more options. That's one of the things that we are blessed with at the Dream Team. Last month, we paid 22 legs last month. So when one leg ain't cooperating, okay, I got 20 other options. I'm going to go play in the sandbox where I'm celebrated and not tolerated, baby. And then you give people, and some people say you love them from a distance. Sometimes you have to give people breaks. I know I can be a lot, right? So people can maybe only do me in short doses. So I give them a little dose and then I go and spread my crazy somewhere else.
Everybody's got an Uncle Leroy in their life, right?
Yeah.
So when they get rid of you, Uncle Leroy gets on them. What you doing? Why are you with those people? They crazy. You drinking the Kool-Aid? Talk. How do you get around that? And how do you teach? How important a person's schedule is, and to get coaching. Like, I'm always looking for, Terry, can this joker read a resume? Right? Like, do they understand Albright's resume? Do they understand Integrity's resume? Do they understand, Brian Adams' resume, Steve Young, all the deals he's put together? Like, do they understand the flapjack team that they got and do it? And I try to do it with scheduling. So how do you, when you see someone and they're like, yeah, well, I'm listening to this person over here and they're an IBA, just started, sold 3 policies. How do you get around that?
Yeah. So number one is the relationship. I am selling them day one that I am their guy. If you want to get to the promised land, if you might as well call me Caleb, because I'm going to take you to the promised land, baby. So I'm selling you on that you're with the right person at the right time with the right opportunity. So I'm trying my best to build that connection. And while I'm building that connection, I'm getting depth. Not a list of 100 names. Hey, Who do you know that's sharp and ambitious like yourself that may can help us out? Trying to get depth fast is always good because people would do more for the fear of loss than the hope for gain. So when people go sideways, I don't ignore it. It's almost like my child. If my child was about to step off the sidewalk and get hit by oncoming traffic, do you think I'm going to be like, Taylor, dear, you may not want to do that? No, I'm like, hey, stop, get out of here. So what I'm trying to say is when there's opportunities where people may be veering off track, we owe it to them to at least try to get them back on track. Now, if they lean into the coaching, I lean more into them. If they push back, I push back. So when they move, I move. Just like that. I believe that's ludicrous right there. But so how do we get people, try to keep them on track is relationships. Going more than just insurance. I'm trying to figure out what is it that you want. So that now, as we're coaching you, if you're doing something that's maybe off focus, I'm saying, hey, is what you're doing, is that going to get you closer to your goal of home ownership? Or do you think it's going to hurt you? And you're asking questions as opposed to saying, stop doing this, doing that. You know, people that really don't want to hear it at the end of the day. But more importantly, Jason, it's separation season. I don't care what they do. Because regardless of what they do, I can go out on my own pen and it should pay $30,000 and $40,000 a month on my own pen. So I'm going to still keep showing you taillights, baby.
You know, one of the things that I talk to a lot of the agency owners I deal with, Terry, is I'm like, why are you expecting well behavior from sick people? Like, they ain't doing the right thing for a reason. Like, they don't know no better. You can't allow their dysfunction to dysfunction you. And you just said it. I got to do what I got to do. Now, you still got to help them. You need to be there, but you're using a filter to decide who you spend your time with, right?
Yeah. Yeah, one of the biggest mistakes that I made very early on was trying to be fair. That's the F word. Treating everybody fair. So I remember I was sitting talking with Andy, and he had a deck of cards. So he says, well, basically, you are recruiting with the face cards down, only looking at the back of the cards, and although the back of the cards are identical, they all look alike. He said, Terry, what you have to do is flip the cards. You can't expect an ace out of a person that has the capacity, the training, the emotional intelligence of a 10 or a 2. Right? That we're not devaluing who people are, but we have to monitor and manage expectations. The biggest reason people are frustrated is mismanaged expectations.
Yeah. One of the things I do when I talk about schedule and coaching, I remember somebody on this call, maybe she'll touch on it. I remember talking with her, and she's like, and we were doing the 13-week tracker and the activity numbers and looking at her numbers every week. And she's like, she's doing 67 dials on average a week. And she's like, this is full time. I'm like, just because this is your only job doesn't mean you're full time, right? So what you need to do is a time audit. Like, just write down every day what you find yourself doing for the next 168 hours. And that will tell you if you full time or not. So how do you get that logic in people?
Yeah.
How do you get that boss mentality in them and that employee mentality in them?
Yeah, so we don't have to inject the employee mentality because they already got it. It's the boss mentality where you got to boss the employee. And the crazy part about it is you got to be a little, and I ain't trying to be offensive to anybody that suffer with bipolar, but in this business, you got to be sort of bipolar because you got to be employee and boss at the same dang on time. But we do a very good job with doing a GS3 call. Go get them started, goal set, go serve them. Right? So in that goal setting call, we're getting a clear definition of what success is going to look like for them in the short term. Not they're going to make $1 million. Yeah, we all going to get there. But hey, listen, what do you need to bring in the next 2 weeks in order to make this thing look good for you. And whatever that number is, we're using the income planning sheet to back it into the activity. Then we pull out the activity book and say, okay, based on what you're trying to do, you need to book 20 appointments per week. Okay, what 2 days can you set aside to go out and see clients? And I prefer them to be back to back. So let's just say they say Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, so we need to be dialing 48 hours before that. We need to be ordering our leads 48 hours before that. So we get down in the details with helping them structure their schedule. And then, hey, all right, it's dial day, baby. $40 an hour. That's the minimum.
Sometimes people, when they get the dial day, they find out, they got to do the laundry, they got to wash the car, they got to clean the house.
Yeah.
That ain't no good.
Yeah. So protecting that dial time. But what we do is we do check in with them. So if they're supposed to be dialing at 8:30 on Thursday morning, I'm shooting them a call 8 o'clock. Hey, man, let's role play that phone script one more time before you get on the phones. Hey, remember, if you talk to 3 people and you don't book an appointment, stop dialing and call me. And then I'll check back in with an hour. All right, man, how many dials you got? How many contacts? 7. How many appointments? 1. Hey, you remember we just talked a while ago? Like if you talk to 3 people and you don't book an appointment, stop dialing. Oh, I just thought this was a numbers game. I just thought I had to work smarter. No, you work hard and smart, buddy. Okay, let's try the next hour. And we're literally holding people's hands every step of the way.
Yeah. Well, Terry, I know you got an appointment to run on to. I appreciate you so much. You're the dream team. You and Tia are setting the example, baby, burning up the roads, helping families, building a massive business, doing the estate planning. They're telling me your numbers, and it's unbelievable. So keep doing it, man. Super proud of what you're doing, Bo.
Hey, man, thank you for the opportunity, Jason. One of the things I will leave you with this is right here. I want to be respected by the people I respect. And I respect you, and I'm so grateful that you placed that $25 Craigslist ad. And I always said, I love Marnie. I ain't against Erica Gold and the rest of the Mathis organization. But the dream team will always be to the far left when you draw out your hierarchy, baby. We got this thing. And the crazy part about it is we just getting warmed up, baby. Let's go.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Terry, for jumping on. I'm going to bring up this next young lady here, number 11 in the nation with IUL production, Erica Gold, just absolutely crushing it. She's an IUL expert. She's teaching it to her other agency owners she works with. She's been with the Alliance. Well, she'll tell you, I think it'll be 2 years, Erica. So tell them a little bit about Erica Gold, what you were doing prior to getting Intense, how you found the Alliance, and what did you do to be successful, and what do you do to help to get your people successful?
Yeah, so thank you, Jason, for having me on the call. Like Jason said, I've been here for about 2.5 years now, or not even. And when I first got started, I was doing custom sneakers online, so I would paint and customize sneakers. But I wanted to get out of that because I knew it was something that I really couldn't scale the way that I wanted to. And I felt like I was working 20-hour days. I couldn't keep up with the demand. So a neighbor had told my sister about insurance, and then I actually got into it. I got into class, studied for 3 days, passed the test, and then she disappeared. I don't know if she went into the witness protection.
She ghosted you.
Yeah, she ghosted me. And so a family friend knew I was struggling in insurance, but I really wanted to do it. So she connected me with Olga somehow. And I met you and Olga like that same night. I was visiting South Florida, and you guys really held my hand, and it was a huge difference right away. Olga told me that there was an event coming up the next week. I bought my ticket. And Olga just was a big example to me, and Jason. But I really connected with Olga, and I saw how successful they were. And so I just was like, okay, I'm just going to follow what they do. If they tell me to go to an event, I'm going. If they told me to go to a hotspot, go dial with Olga, rally points, like what they were telling me to do. I showed up.
So you, for some reason, were able to look at Olga's resume and be like, that's a girl that I can follow that can help me, right?
Exactly. I really let her be the example, and she treated this like a job, and so did I.
She was like your big sister.
Yeah. Mhm.
What's crazy, Erica, is how. So number 11, who wouldn't want to have a number 11 on their team, IUL producer, right? So I found you. What we did was we called a list of people, and we got this young lady, Mary. Her name was Mary, 68 years old. Her career, her resume prior to this was cleaning hotel rooms in people's houses. She was a maid, is what she did her whole career. And I asked her what made her want to get into financial services at this stage in her life. Why now? And someone had talked to her about it. And at another thing, she didn't like that, but we got a hold of her. We interviewed her. She had no computer. She had no internet, but she did have a cell phone. And that's how I talked to her. We got her. So she'd have to go to the library to do all the computer stuff she needed to do. And she said, what can I do while I'm waiting for my carrier contracting numbers to come through? I said, well, you can recruit, talk to everybody you know. I wasn't too excited about a 68-year-old talking to other 68-year-olds, but talk to your people that you know and talk to their children and grandchildren. And she started doing that, right? And then she started calling the state license list. And she got a hold of a person who started up with us, okay? And that person got another person started, and that's the person who told your friend told you about that person, Anna. And that's how we found you. So it's just absolutely crazy how thin the thread is. And when you recruit and you build leaders, the biggest thing you can do, everybody can do, is like Terry said, is be the example. Like, don't not do it. You've got to keep doing it. You're going to be the worst you ever are at something when you start out. You're only going to get better. So one thing that impressed me about you, Erica, and your shoe business, how many people did you have online, that the platform? Like, it was 100,000, 50,000. How many was it?
It was about 150,000.
So that impressed the heck out of me. Like, I'm looking at resumes. I'm looking at their resume, and they should be looking at my resume. They should be looking at the Alliance Albright resume. They should be looking at the Integrity resume and Brian Adams and Steve Young and what this whole opportunity is about. And that impressed the heck out of me. And I was like, wow, this girl is a worker. She does stuff, and you just got to work. Now, what do you do? Like, when you recruit, I know you've started recruiting now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last month or the month before, you were number 2 in the nation, Erica, number 2 in the nation with the carrier contracting. How do you keep what do you do to help them? And then how do you keep your mind clean? Because we both know a lot of people do this. They flap their gums and they don't do what they say they're going to do. So what are you doing to recruit? Tell them your secrets, and how do you deal with the emotional damage when people don't do what they say they're going to do?
Right. So when I'm recruiting, I really want to spend time with not really the people who just want to do this business. It's the people who will do this business. And there's a lot of people that want it, but they're not doing the work that it takes to actually succeed. The will people, the people like Olivia Martin, she was just like me when I started. I recruited her. I was new, but I was following Olga and she was following me. And she was able to duplicate what I was doing. And so I wanted to spend time with her. I wanted to work with her. And she's a will person. She actually is doing the work. And so those people are very teachable. Like I think it's 6 in the 8 steps of success is being teachable. And the people who do it are the teachable people, because plenty of people are going to say they want it, like Terry said, but it's about actually sitting down and making dials and doing the work and showing up for yourself. So it's just really working with the people who actually do what they say they're going to do.
And I've noticed you're doing a lot more interviewing and stuff. So what do you do to interview people? How are you doing that, and how do you deal with some of these people in the interviews that are just crazy?
Yeah, I've learned a lot of people are crazy, but a quote that Jeff told me is we want we're looking for people who are humble enough to stay focused, but arrogant enough to take advantage of the opportunity, and that's the people I'm looking for and spending time with. And so when we're recruiting, I'm trying to find those people. Like, we're recruiting everybody, but it's really working with the people who are willing to do this.
What do you know, when you're recruiting, a lot of the agency owners I deal with, they start recruiting, they're super excited. They think it's very simple, but it's not easy, right? And I try to get this logic into their head. Some will, some won't. So what? Thank you. Don't get jaded on the so what. Thank you next. Like, how do you just keep yourself clean and your mind clean?
Definitely. This business has taught me a lot more than what the shoe business did, because I had to fail a lot and learn from like my own failures, and just like, staying positive, reading, listening to audios. Readings really helped me learn from other people's experience and failures, which is what I didn't do in the shoe business. I was just learning it all myself. And so learning from their failures without taking all those risks, and just listening to audio. So when I can't sit down and read a book and I'm in my car, when I was going in homes, I throw on an audio, because it helps me from getting into my like self-talk and like self-doubt. I can't really think about that when I'm listening to audios, and then the audios are helping me grow. And so I'm listening to audios, reading, things like that. It helps me really stay positive and stay in like a good mindset instead of getting in my own head.
I mean, a tough way to go through this business or life in general is learning from the school of hard knocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
It'll teach you, but it's a hard knock in the head. And that's a difficult way to grow, because you can only grow through your mistakes and through learning. And if the only time you're learning is when you're making your own mistakes, that's very, very terrible. So, what I tell people is a shortcut, a true life hack, a cheat code on the game of life is reading, listening to audio, and getting around the people who are extremely successful. Now, like, reading and audio is extremely easy. It's very simple. It's very inexpensive, but it's the getting around the people that are doing it and have the right know-how, the right attitude, the right schedule. That's extremely, extremely difficult, right? Like, that's cost money. It takes time. You're out of the field. You can't make sales, but it's going to accelerate your business over the course of the next 3 to 6 months. Talk about that. What have you done to do that?
So, like I said, when I was brand new, I didn't know anything. I just met you guys. Olga had told me there's a big event coming up. It was National Convention, and I went. And since then, I've never missed a big event. I'm a big fan of attend all meetings. I think it gives me a sense of pride and self-respect to show up. Olga, I didn't want to disappoint Olga, but I really didn't want to disappoint myself, because it's only going to hurt me to not show up. And so I was showing up to everything. And when I was going to hot spots and going to meetings, I'd, look at you guys, and I want to be like you guys. I want to be successful like you guys. But not only that, I'd walk in and I'm like, I don't want to be nobody walking into this room. I don't want to go to convention and be like a nobody. I saw Olga. I'm like, I want to be like Olga. I want somebody to look at me and think, I want to follow her. I want to be like her. And so it's crazy to think now I was nobody walking into a room, and now I'm going to be at the next big event speaking on stage. And so doing
your
that.
Your topic is, what is your topic for that? It's
how to sell IULs.
Wow. That in and of itself would be a great reason to go to the next big event, like just to learn how you become the number 11 producer in the nation year to date on IUL. Just going to that, that'll be worth the price of admission right there.
That's right. That's right. And so I really just, it's crazy to think back that I was, I started with no confidence. I really didn't know what I was doing. And I just followed Olga and what she told me to do. It's not just about attending the meetings, it's actually about doing the work when you leave the meeting. And so I go to the meetings, but I also followed your guys' instruction when I left the meeting. I think that's super important. People can't just show up to these meetings and poof, you're successful. You have to actually do the work.
And so, like all the time, your coach or mentor, it's sometimes hard to understand them, kind of like when we talk sometimes, right?
Exactly.
But you've reached out to Jeff Bright, you've gotten coaching from Albright, you've gotten coaching from Olga. Like, how important, like when you try to teach that message to people, how to learn to read someone's resume and not rely on your own resume, how important is that for you and the agents that you're working with?
Yeah, I think it's super important. Like I said, getting around the people who are doing it and all the resources we have in the Alliance, like I've mentioned several times, Olga was a big inspiration to me. And Jeff has been super amazing. He helps me so much, give me different perspectives on the business, and helping me work with different types of people and recruiting, and like pouring into me when he doesn't have to. Like, it's crazy to think all the people that are here in the Alliance, and he's so like selfless to help me with recruiting and talking with different people. He gets on all these Zoom calls, and I'm really appreciative of that. And I think it's really helped me a lot. The only reason that I have those numbers in recruiting is because I have a person like Jeff to help me. And the same thing with sales. If it wasn't for Olga, I wouldn't have been able to learn how to sell in this business. So,
but I remember you had a lot of grit. And I met your grandmother and your mom, and where did you learn this grit, this stick-to-itiveness? Where did you learn that? Who gave that to you?
Well, if I could,
was it Mama?
Yeah, Mama. My grandparents are like super important to me, and they had businesses and things like that. And it's always something that I wanted to do. I always wanted to be like an entrepreneur. I never wanted to have a 9 to 5. So getting into this business was just normal for me because I did the shoes before. I had my own schedule. I knew how to follow a schedule. But yeah, she's always told me ever since I started this business, it was hard for me. She saw me coming, like Olga used to come home and be like, "Did you make any sales?" My grandma would ask me all the time, "How's it going? Are you making any sales?" Like, don't ask me anymore. But she never was negative about it, because she's been in business before and she was successful. And she had a business for like over 40 years. And she would tell me when I started this, people usually lose money in the first 2 years. So if you're not losing your money and you're just making back what you paid in leads, it's fine. You'll figure it out. And so she's like, just stick to it. So I didn't have a problem sticking to this. And that's what I tell people. People pay all this money to go to school, and they have all these student loans, and they don't have an issue not making money while they're in school for 4, 8, some people 10 years. And so I've grown a lot in just 2.5 years. So I really, in the beginning, just took this like, this is school. I'm just learning.
If I could just get it into people's heads that, if they just keep doing it, like, it's successful. Because if it's not working, right, and you get someone recruiting and then it's not working, they can't get people to show up for the interview, they can't people to fast track or carrier contract, or they get them contracted, they get real good at that, they get real good at the interview, they get real good at fast track, they get real good at carrier contracting, and then it falls apart. How do you deal with the mental aspect of it, keeping your head clean? How do you become the chief reminder officer? And it's like you always got to remind all these little baby birds to show up, to do this, to do that. Like, what do you do to stay focused and stay sharp and not get jaded?
It's just about keeping like a positive mental attitude. People are crazy. There's people that aren't going to do this business. It's just like I try and think about, okay, it didn't take Jason one interview to find Terry Edward. And it didn't, after he went through, I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of people to get Terry, then he didn't just find Marnie. and Sabrina. And then he didn't just find Erica. It took years. And so when I'm recruiting these people, I'm just like, there is a Terry out there. I just haven't found him yet. And so if I stop recruiting, I'm never going to get, to Terry. Or, in the beginning when I started, and a lot of people, when they start, they go, oh, I can't recruit. I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I recruited Olivia. I recruited someone else that recruited Olivia, but I just pushed them up to you guys. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have had Olivia. So it's just about knowing that, you have to just keep recruiting. If you want to find good people that will do it, there's a bunch of people out there that won't. There's going to be one diamond that you find. That's what Olga always tells me. So,
well, you did the work to find Olivia, and that's what I did with Terry. I found Terry, and I didn't know, I was like, wow, this guy's like got some stuff together, and I just pushed him up. So you're doing the right thing. Have you, honestly, now this national call, I understand, but honestly, have you come to the realization and the belief in your heart, mind, and soul that if this recruiting thing don't work, that it's not them, it's somebody else, you?
Right. Yeah, I'm the lid on my agency, so.
You believe, why? It's like crazy when I tell people, like, it's you, it's not the system, it's you. You got Jeff Bright, you got President's Club, you got the ARC, you've got, Clay Murtis, Lucero Diaz, you've got the lead performance team and Kat. Like, you've got all these resources, and they're like, no, they fall apart emotionally, psychologically, mentally. It's like what I said at the beginning, called they allow another's dysfunction to dysfunction them. When you get someone like that, is there any particular thing, like, what do you try to do with them? Like, do you try to push them upline? Do you try to get them on a call? Like, what do you do with your team to try to expose them to greatness?
Well, I have a call every single week that I do with Jeff Bright. So it's just pushing them to people like that, to Olga and you. But to touch on what you were talking about, it's the same thing as it was in sales. So I don't get like down in the dumps when it comes to recruiting, because when I first started selling, I could get in that negative mental mindset when I have all these people and a bunch of people aren't doing what they say they're going to do. And just like how you said, having grit and sticking to it, but really just plugging them into the system. I just go back to doing what Olga and you did with me. And they have to duplicate me. They have to follow what I'm doing. So I have to lead from the front. I have to keep, I still am selling. I didn't quit selling because I'm recruiting and showing them that I sell. And some will and some won't. And so what? So I keep recruiting.
That's good. That's really good. I was looking at, I printed up this, number 11 in the nation. So proud of you. And just what you're, the example, you got to be the example first. If you're going to be a leader, you got to be the example. One of the things that, everybody is a follower. All leaders, let me say this, all leaders are also great followers. I remember one time years ago, Andy called me up. It was like Thursday. He goes, hey, Bo, what are you doing? What are you doing Monday? And of course, I already had my schedule worked out, had an interview set up, had this set up, that set up, and people come to my office, my home office. And he goes, I want you to go meet one of the guys that coaches me. And I'm thinking, who in the flapjack coaches a guy who's a billionaire in financial services now? And I was like, I'm about getting ready to do what you tell me I think I should be doing. He's like, all right, I just had Missy send you over the information and bring your wife. And we flew out there, and he set up 2 days to meet with Brian Adams. And I was just blown away with what, Andy and Brian are building together as a partner. And it was just absolutely incredible. And so the coaching piece, guys, if you don't have a coach or a mentor in this business, get one. Right, Erica? Would you tell people to do that?
Yeah, it's the biggest reason I feel like I succeeded in this business.
It's just so much easier to talk to somebody who's been through that business situation or that valley or that problem or the success. I got news for everybody. Success is also a problem.
Mhm.
Being good at something is the biggest killer of great. So learning how to do that is tricky. So I'm excited about what you're doing in your agency and how you're blowing it up, Erica, and just keep doing it. Keep recruiting, keep talking to these people. I'm so elated that what you're doing and building and talking to these people. I've always told you that when you start recruiting, I think some of the stuff that me and you have been like this on, like, because Erica, it's not always been rainbows and unicorns with us, right?
Right. I agree with that.
But with Olga, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got that. So, I'm just super excited what you're doing with your recruiting business and talking to people and learning and growing and, getting people to these training events and that. So Erica, what else you want to say? You got any closing logic for everybody? Tell them to show up for your IUL.
Yeah, show up for my IUL talk. I'm super excited. Like I said, going into these rooms as nobody and now speaking on the stage, I'm taking it really seriously, and I'm really honored that I was asked to speak on stage.
You are considered a legend of the arena now. Is that crazy? So that's July the 17th through July the 20th. Erica is going to be a legend in the arena and teaching in the arena on this IULs. Guys, if you want to learn about IULs and IUL production and how she does it, her logic, what she says, what she doesn't say, leads, how she preps for all that, you need to get to a family reunion, Legends of the Arena, July 17th through the 20th. So, Erica, thank you so much. You are awesome. I'm going to bring up this next young lady who I met in 2020. She's going to tell you a little bit about where she was. Tia, if we can bring up Miss Marnie Frank. And I've just got a little bit of data here that I want to go over. Hey, Marnie, before you enlighten people up. I was looking at some numbers before this call, and you and your agency is absolutely blowing up. You are number 3 year to date for estate planning issue paid production, number 3 in the nation year to date. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible how you've built this thing. You are 22nd year to date in the nation for estate planning implementations. That does not even include Rise management numbers. That's just you and Sabrina. And you've also got another person kicking arse, Danny Direct to Jimmy Leo, helped become massively successful with the estate planning, what you're doing with Rise management. He's also on the leaderboard. So you've got all that in your feather in your hat. And then I was looking at the issue paid production. You are number 3 in the nation for just issue paid production, total issue paid production. So pretty incredible what you've been able to do. I remember meeting you. We met, I called you off the state license list, and you were extremely happy, extremely chipper going through. Tell them a little bit about, what you were doing prior to coming to the Alliance, how you started with us, when you started with us, and tell them a little bit about you and your resume.
Thank you for having me on, Jason. And first, I have to say, I am totally blessed to be sitting here on this call for this opportunity. I just don't know of any other opportunity that is out there that could have led me to where Sabrina and I are today. It's really amazing. So I thank Andy and Jane for doing this, and you for calling me. I'm
just a carnival barker. That's all I do, Marty. Yeah. I just point here, point there. We've got a great platform what the Albrights have built. I agree with that 100%.
It's incredible. I mean, you called me. I had just had a whole, I'd say, career change, life change. Okay, I got divorced. I lost my mother. I lost my business. I lost my family. I mean, it was an incredible.
You lost your $1 million home?
Yep, my home. I lost everything. Okay. Not that I was destitute on the street at this time yet, but I lost everything. Okay, and here I was trying to figure out what to do, and I accidentally got caught up in a interview for another insurance company, and I was not happy there. It was all will
The free
kits.
child safety kit, free will people.
Yep. So I felt that I wasn't being honest with people or truthful of why I was there, and it was like a bait and switch kind of thing. And then they didn't handle commissions right. They weren't very transparent on seeing what you were even supposed to get paid or getting information. So I was coming from a really damaged place, and you called. And I remember I was like, well, I'm not.
You was jaded. You was like, are you going to pay me right and everything? And you going to pay commissions on time? And I was like, God, what happened to this girl?
Yeah, and the funny thing is you didn't. But I loved you.
I know.
And you made it up to me twice.
I screwed it up twice with your commissions. I was like, oh, God, this is why she's joining us. And we done screwed up the commission. So,
But that's okay. That's okay. I was originally going to join just because the guaranteed issue policies, I didn't have an outlet for that. And then you just stayed on me. You kept pouring into me. I remember telling you that one day I was going to do it. Don't give up on me. And I thank God that you didn't give up on me, because one day it clicked, and it was, yes, I was the girl. I don't want Erica to take blame for this, that did the 67 dials. And I was like, but I'm doing it full time. Okay, that was not getting me the results that I wanted. So I was so steadfast. Remember, I was my own business owner my whole life. I never really worked for anybody. So when everybody's giving me, follow the 8 steps, do this, do that, it's really simple, just do what we say and it's going to be great. Of course, that didn't jive with me until I wasn't successful. And I said, you know what, Jason Mathis, I'm going to show you that this doesn't work. I'm going to do exactly what you tell me to do. I'm going to read the books. I'm going to do the 8 steps. I'm going to make my dials. I'm going to make my schedule, and I'll show you this doesn't work. And lo and behold, it worked. And here I am today. Now, part of the reason I'm here today is I tricked my daughter into going to, I didn't really totally trick her, but I tricked my daughter into going to family reunion, because Jason, you have to get to the events. I'm like, I really don't want to spend the money on this. I don't want to spend the time. What am I going to do with the dogs? So I told my daughter, who was in school at that time, Sabrina, just come with me. I bought your ticket. Meals are included. I don't care what you do. I just don't want to go alone. I don't want to go this thing by myself. So she came with me, and by the end of the event, she was like, we're driving home, and she's like, I think I can do this. And I'm like, do what? And she's like, do the insurance. I go, oh, okay. So she came home being the smart 20, well, at that time she was only 20. She came home, took the course and took the test, I think after that weekend, passed it, and the rest is history. And we decided we were going to grow this together. And let me tell you, she's my greatest success. Yes, I found that recruit. But I mean, together we have really built something and worked together to create something and change the lives of a lot of agents and a lot of people. So one of those people is Danny. I mean, when Erica was talking and Terry was talking, you got to pour into the people. I mean, we talk to so many agents, so many people. First of all, when an agent calls us in the house and they're looking for help, we're never upset about that. It's like, yeah, they're doing something. Yeah, they're going to get a sale. It's like, we got the sale. Okay, so it's really good. But when you have people that come across you, like finding that Terry, finding Erica, if you want to include me, but when Jimmy found Danny, and I saw a potential there, and I almost saw a boredom, like he just couldn't get going, and I poured all this time into him. So when we were going to start the estate planning, I'm like, well, this might be a really good outlet for you. But again, he had to be willing. He had to pay for the seminar. He had to invest in a couple of months. He had to take time out, because it's really hard when you're really full into something else to dedicate, all the, that you need to do in the sales and make that leap of faith. And he did it. And if he didn't do that, we wouldn't be where we are, or he wouldn't be where he is.
Well, I want to just take a quick step back. So getting people started, like, I was impressed what you did with Sabrina, tricking her, because I remember you talking about that. I'm like, well, if we can get her up there, she's super smart. She could do this, but she's in nursing school. And She went up there with you, and she came back. And what I found so impressive about Sabrina was she was like a CNA, before you get your nursing, you can do this CNA where you wipe. You got to clean people up if they throw up. You got to clean up, throw up, and vomit and all this other bodily fluid stuff. And I was like, I ain't gonna do that. I don't care if you make $500 a pop. That's out. And she actually talked to Andy Riddle about this, and I think she was making $13 an hour doing that job. And she talked to Andy Riddle, and Andy Riddle's like, well, now that you got your insurance license and you're in nursing school, you're doing this other stuff. Why don't you go ask for $2 more an hour or $1 more an hour or something? And she got a $2 an hour raise by following the Alliance logic and getting coaching. So she's always been extremely coachable, and that's really what you're looking for. And one of the other things I want to just put a fine point on, Marnie, is when we recruit, I'm looking to get people and nudge them in the direction I want. But it's not, I don't always get 100% of what I want. I'd never get upset if I always got what I want. I didn't want you just to sell guaranteed issue stuff, but that's what you said you wanted to do. And I met you where you were at. You showed me some production reports of what you were doing. I was like, oh my God, if this girl's doing this with this company, she could crush it over here. If I can just get her here, because we're not going to screw up on her pay. We're going to get all that straight. And then we screwed up on your pay twice, and we ended up fixing all that, and so that was that. But I was impressed with your grit and your stick-to-itiveness, and I knew you had a ton of potential. I remember when I first met you, COVID was in full swing. We were in the Alliance did an event training event in Tampa, and you came up there to meet me and Olga, and you jumped out of your big truck there, and you had the red ponytails on. I was like, this girl can do this thing.
Bright red hair.
Bright red hair. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. You met Olga, and you guys started to build a relationship. You started to get plugged into the system and get coaching from her. When you recruit and you're trying to help people, what do you and Sabrina and Danny do it to expose them to greatness? How do you do it?
I first of all, I give them everything they need to succeed, right? We have everything we need to succeed, and we have the proof that it works. So getting them to the events, getting them around the people, having them see what we're doing, having them see success, to me is already setting them up. Like, this can work. You just have to put the work in. But like you said, and Erica said, we have to meet people where they're at. Okay, everybody, and again, I didn't set out like a banshee and start doing. It took me a good 6 months to a year before I actually started, dedicating myself to it. I knew I could do it, but I just wasn't very motivated to do it. I said, so we see what they can do. We see what they're doing. If you give them everything they need, we start out with a onboarding teachable site. Start here. And that tells a lot, whether they started the site, whether they completed the site, whether they finished the site, whether they've never opened the site. Okay, those that don't open the site, I don't have much faith in. Okay, those that are working through it and wanting to do it, that show that I use a Yiddish word, the chutzpah to do it and stick with it, I'll give them all the time they need. But unless they're willing to take that first step and make that commitment, then we have a list of, okay, let's set down, like Terry said, let's make your schedule. Let's set your goals. Everybody does not have the same goals. When I started out, it wasn't honestly to be where I am right now. I just wanted to make some extra money on the side, pay my bills, and I was happy. Okay, then I started getting around. I started going to the hot spots. And I remember I would call up every Thursday. I'd call you and Olga, and I'd be like, I want to be like Steffi, Brian, and Michelle. Oh my God, I want to be. And so what did I do? I kind of mirrored and imaged what they were doing to get there. And likewise, I realized that everybody on that stage, when you go there, whether it's the Leventoviches, I'm not sure about you, Terry and Tia, everybody was broke, looking for the magic pill, looking for the direction. And the alliance is it. It can work for anybody. I don't think I'm any more special or talented or got hit with the good luck fairy stick. I just didn't quit. I just worked at it. And that's what I want to encourage my agents when I'm working with them to do. The only thing I can do, I always tell people, I will take you by the hand. I will lift you up. I'll, carry you along. I'll wipe your knees off. I'll cry with you. I'll laugh with you. The only thing I cannot do is drag you. I can't drag somebody and make them do it. Last year, Sabrina and I finished out. Last year, we finished out top 10 in sales, annuities, recruiting. Didn't have a good Medicare, but anything that is brought to us that can better what we do and how we help people is what we do. Okay, maybe you don't like Medicare. There's plenty of other things to do. When estate planning came along, we were like everybody else. You think this can work? I don't know. You think it'll work? I don't know. Well, Andy says it's going to work. I mean, Andy's done pretty good for himself, right? Well,
yeah, that carried a lot of weight with me.
Buddy. What?
Yeah, that carried a lot of weight with me after Andy Albright and Christopher Norris vetted out the system, and then Andy Albright put the stamp of approval on it. I was like, let's do it. So what do you do? Like, you get a new agent. And a new agency owner, they've opened up their agency, they've done the fast track, the carrier contracting, and then you're always using the BAM fam, book a meeting from a meeting. But what do those meetings look like? Like, what is your mindset? What are you trying to accomplish with them to get them to like and trust you more?
Again, I think I put a lot of the onus on them. Sabrina and I, when we talk to our agents and new agents, I think we come across very family oriented, very personable. I will get you there. I'm honest. I can do everything except do the work for you. We give them all the tools. Sabrina did an entire YouTube channel. There is a video on how to write and submit every single application with every single carrier. That took time. We have an entire teachable site that she created as well to walk them through every aspect. If you follow the steps and you do what you say you're going to do, whatever that is, it doesn't have to be full-time conquer the world. Then you have us in your pocket. We're going to help you. We're going to be there for you, but you can't fail. It's proven. As long as you do what you say you're going to do and you do what has been set forth in front of you, you can't fail. I've never not answered a call. I mean, I get calls all the time. I started at 7:30 this morning, agents calling me. I mean, I love it because I'm glad they're out working. I'm glad they're out doing something, and I want to motivate them. I wish I could do more. I talked last year at boot camp about doing ride-alongs because that was very big in my agency. Unfortunately, I haven't figured out how to clone myself yet. So it's hard for me to be in two places, and we've really put a lot of work into the estate planning. And then again, I've had a lot of agents come to this. I've opened it up to all my agents. I will help you. I will help start you. I've worked with your agency. I will train you. I will do everything I possibly can to make you successful. What do I get out of that? I just know that I helped, and I'm making people money. I'm making people happy.
Yeah. When people start recruiting, we tell them, you can send them to President's Club. They can do the Zip Recruiter. They can call the state license list, but really they're going to have their best in the people that they know and people that they trust. Mm-hmm. Why do you talk a little bit about when you start recruiting? I've talked to you before, and you said one of the things you wish you would have done was recruit sooner, recruit faster and harder. When you talk to new people, why do we like for them to, get in their warm market and talk to people they know? Why do we do that?
Because there could be a Terry Edwards or an Eric or Marnie in their warm market. I think people get discouraged when they start out. For some reason, they don't want to talk about it. So instead of talking about it and recruiting people, hey, I have a great opportunity for you. If you start shining your light, people are going to come to you. People are going to see, what the heck are you doing? I see you on Facebook. I see you on Instagram. You're traveling all over the place. You're helping families. You're winning trips. You're winning awards. Your warm market needs to see this. You need to be proud of it and get them wanting to know what you're doing, and they can do it too.
And I think a lot of people when they're new, Morning, they look at their own resume and they're like, I've got to be the person, instead of using the resume of the Alliance or the resume of an Olga or the resume of a Marnie or Danny or Jimmy Leo. Like, they can say, hey, look, of course I haven't done anything. I'm brand new. So when you start out, that's the best and most easiest time to recruit. Wouldn't you agree? Like, touch on that a little bit.
It's the easiest time to recruit, but where people stab themselves is saying, well, I don't know enough yet. I have to know this fully before I start to recruit. And I'm like, no, you don't. And I think Andy Riddle said it once in one of our hotspots. He goes, don't touch them, you'll break them. We don't want you to touch them. Just all you have to do is get people to your upline, get people to whoever it is that's training you. They're going to be more than happy to help you and do it. Get them there and we'll train them. We'll help them. Of course, you get the credit. Of course, they're still under you. But you don't know yet when you're starting out how to train somebody because you're still learning.
Like, we don't expect, right? I mean, people just think that our system is so, I don't know, goofy or archaic that we're going to allow them or want them to talk to a new person.
No, it's really funny when people are scared to talk to clients when they go on calls. I mean, it's like they don't want to talk to them. They don't want to talk to their friends. I'm like, what is the worst thing they're going to do? You're offering them an opportunity. And I offered that opportunity to Jimmy Leo. He didn't take it right away. But probably 6 months to a year later, he's like, well, I need a change. Talk to me about this. And I've had other people talk to me. So you just need to plant those seeds, but don't feel you need to know anything more than this opportunity works. I've seen it work. I know successful people doing it. It could work for you. Right? And get them to the events, get them around the people so they can see other people doing it. You don't have to be an all-star yet. Be honest with them. You just started, but man, it's working out for you too.
Yeah. I think one of the things that successful recruiters do, and you can touch on this if you got anything to say about it, is like when I'm talking to somebody, be it an interview, a seasoned agent, whoever it is, like I'm always trying to get them to the next thing, be it, today's call. I interviewed someone yesterday and then I had my assistant send out the link for this call because I was thinking about, talking with them on the call, decided not to do it, but, get them to the TWC, the product call, the activity call, the hot spot, invite them over, invite them for a cup of coffee, like bam, fam them as soon as possible. You can bam, fam more than one meeting when you're on a call, right? Like you can bam, fam that for your assistant to do the fast tracking carrier contracting, right? Then you can bam, fam them, say, come to my office. You can bam, fam them to meet them at Starbucks. Like, come out and meet me. Like, association is big. So get them to associate with you. How important? Huge. You do an awesome job at that. What do you do to do that?
It's totally huge. I mean, I've honestly tried to model a lot of our recruiting and a lot of our team spirit. We went through a lot of changes after Terry. I mean, he has a highly committed, I don't even know the words for it, but a huge team, awesome. Right? Awesome. Yeah, that's huge. So I'm like, okay, we need to create a culture. So where did I do? First of all, I went to Terry Edwards to find out how to do this, right? Because I don't know everything either. So I go to Terry and he tells how to kind of do this and we set up a culture and I'm always available. And it goes beyond just being on training calls. You have to get on the calls. And again, this is doing what you say you're going to do. You can't expect just to learn the stuff. You got to get on Jeff Bright. Jeff Bright is a huge call because it doesn't only work with how to sell, it's how to deal with yourself. right? It's who you are and why you maybe are holding yourself back. So it's doing that. But I did team events. We did a summer program. We all got together at a park, and I got an ice cream truck, and we got people together. Like, we're all here to help one another. I wound up falling down playing kickball. Play kickball, they said. What can go wrong? I cracked my head open, but but it was all good. Wait, you're muted.
We've got a big training event coming up. Me, you, Sabrina, and Danny. A big training event coming up in Tampa on Friday. This Friday, right?
Yeah, this Friday.
We're all going to Capitol Grill to do some training.
I feel like I've really
Right.
arrived now.
Yeah. So we're going to do the appropriate amount of training and eating.
Yes. Well, eating is very important. Wasn't that used to be part of the Alliance thing?
Have fun, make money, and eat great. Yeah.
And eat great? Yeah. Well, I don't need to eat any more greater. But I'm just honored to be able to train people, to be able to help people. To be able to ask to speak. I think Sabrina and I are speaking on how to get families, parents, and children involved. This is huge. I mean, my daughter was going to college for nursing. I made her at least graduate. Like, I didn't let her quit.
Yeah.
And I asked you about that. She had to finish both, which was a challenge, but she did it. It's a great opportunity. You just have to get into it. It's
great follower, and that's what you're looking for. People that, want to do it. Now, I can't stress enough. Like, if there was one actionable item on this call that I would try to get across to people, is be a carnival barker to your people that you know, right? Like, and don't get upset. Like, we're not looking to ruin friendships, but I would tell everybody who's listening to this call now or in the future, guys, that be a carnival barker. Lord knows if I could change something in my agency, that's what I would have done. I would have got into letting everybody know what my wife Olga was into. And, you just want to expose them to it. It doesn't matter if they do it or don't do it. That's not what you're trying to figure out. What you're trying to figure out is you just want to, hey, this company I'm with, they're hiring, did over 28 billion in sales last year, and we do financial services, we do life insurance, mortgage protection, estate planning, annuities, Medicare, like all of it or one of it. You got to do at least one thing, right? Mm-hmm. And is that something you might be interested in part-time or full-time? Like, they're hiring part-time or full-time, and they're going to say yes or no. And that is what I would tell everybody, and do it again. Like, for years, I have been recruiting all of my Mama Bama people. I got one of them, and he quit. I got one, and I've almost got 2 or 3 others, but I never got anybody. But I always once or twice a year, we'll go have a steak or something. And I'm always like, well, he's hiring. Like, I'm just not giving up on him. Right? Like, I'm always still trying to do it. So when you start, that's what everybody should be doing, is to be like, let me get in my phone. Let me call the top 2 or 3 people, or let Marnie do it, or Terry Edwards do it, or Erica Gold do it, or Jason or Olga. Like, hey, now that you guys are legit, you do a ton of business with Mutual of Omaha, they're not scamming nobody. You know what I mean? Like, it's legit. So who are you thinking about? And you get a couple of numbers from them, and you call them up, or you get someone even better to call them up, like a Marnie and Erica, or a Terry, or a Marvin, or a Ricardo, or an Abian, or a Fitz, or a Davies, Katz, Leventovich, and that is, let that person do work for you guys. If I could get everybody in the Alliance today, 2 days after this call, is just text your most awesome person in your agency and say, hey, I just thought about these 3 people. They've already turned me down, but these people would be awesome, or I haven't talked to them about it yet. And you text 3 to 5 people, they will work, put them to work. Put those people to work, and that will help blow up your agency. That would be the one actionable item I would tell everybody to do. Do it to me. My team should do it to me. They should say, hey, look, I've taught these people and they're kind of interested. And talk to them again about it, but I can't do this. They said they're interested, but they haven't got into class, or they got into class and can't get out of class. Like, get your agency manager, your district manager, regional manager, or whoever involved in your business, and put them to work. It's free labor for you. It's absolutely free labor. So, Marnie, I'm super proud of what you're doing and how you're doing it. The other thing I would tell everybody to do is get to the Albright intensive training. Guys, I can't tell you what that did for my business. I can't tell you enough. It took absolutely unbelievable. Those are your two items to do: is send your upline that and your growing manager 3 to 5 numbers and say, hey, look, here's some good people. They have a great resume. I didn't have the guts or the courage to talk to them about it 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 10 years ago, but call these people. They're extremely successful. They're a doctor, they're a lawyer, they're an engineer, they're a computer IT expert. These people are also looking for freedom, guys. So get to that training. Guys, Andy Albright, the Albrights, Jane Albright, thank you so much for creating the alliance. We are going to go 3 minutes early today. Everybody have a great day and have a great weekend. Ciao.